Thank you very much, Presiding Officer. And I want to say from the outset that I have a strong interest and passion in international affairs. I think it is right that they are debated by parliamentarians. But this is an issue that is reserved to the UK Parliament. It is an issue that all of our parties represented here have members of the UK Parliament who can ask these questions, who can raise these debates and have a discussion about it. And there has been some speeches today which I think have been very compelling. I think what Alex Cole-Hamilton and Paul Swinney spoke about on their visit was important. But we can discuss and debate those in members' business time at the end of the day. Right now, we are in government debating time. This is a topic brought forward by the Government of Scotland. And we have also been on recess for a fortnight. We have not been here for over 2 weeks. And what are we voting on tonight? Nothing. We don't even have a motion. We will not have a single division of this Parliament on the first day back after recess, because this is the topic the SNP government have chosen to debate in their scheduled time. So what could we have discussed today? Well, I'm just looking at the submission of statement requests from just the Scottish Conservatives, and I'm sure there were plenty of others from the other parties. We wanted a statement or a debate on the situation with RAC. Where are we with that in our public buildings? We wanted a statement on agriculture policy, because it is a continuing issue that is affecting our farmers and crofters. We wanted a statement on the massive increase in ADHD referrals here in Scotland. We wanted a debate on the care home sector and the challenges it is facing.
Point of order, Patrick Harvey.
Grateful, Presiding Officer. The member appears to be debating a business motion which was debated and voted on before the April recess, rather than debating the international situation. I know Mr Ross doesn't always follow the standing orders of the Parliament, but I wonder if you could advise on this point.
I can advise on the point that if he remains relevant to the motion that we're discussing, I'm happy to let him continue. That's not a point of order. Douglas Ross, to continue.
Can you confirm I'll get my time back? Because
we'll get your time back,
I'm grateful,
Mr. Ross.
because I'm just going through some of the points that one party in this chamber would like to have been debating on our first day back after recess. I was speaking when Mr Harvey made his spurious point of order about the care home sector, something that affects every one of our constituencies and regions, but we're not having an opportunity to debate it. There were some local issues. I know Stephen Kerr wanted to discuss the flood prevention schemes in Falkirk, I think it was, and the decision by the Scottish Government not to call that in. I asked for a statement, Presiding Officer, about the £67 million loan that has gone to NHS Grampian. There are legitimate questions to the Health Secretary, who's sitting on the front bench on his phone, to the Government in general, about that situation, but no, that was all refused. So there are issues that we could have been debating today. We could have spent longer. I just want to make a bit of progress, if I can. We could have spent longer today debating the Supreme Court ruling, something that does have an international context because it has been reported on around the globe. The Scottish Government went to court over the definition of a woman and lost, and we got 30 minutes as parliamentarians to debate it. Maybe if we had a full debate this afternoon on that ruling, maybe Nicola Sturgeon would have turned up. All we've had from her as the former First Minister who took that legislation through this Parliament is a selfie from the gym, but not a single comment on what she believes that judgment means about the legislation she tried to pass and the government she led and the government she is still part of. Another point I was hoping to discuss in this Parliament was about the massive pay increase that has been awarded to Scottish Government ministers. Now, I will give way to Jim Fairley.
Jim Fairley.
I think the member needs to correct the record. There has been no increase in the wage for ministers. Ministers are merely being aligned with every other MSP sitting in this chamber.
I'm not going to correct the record. Ministers are getting an extra £20,000 a year. In any other world, that is an increase. So let's put this point, because I wasn't allowed a statement. The Scottish Government have so far not made time for this. Now, when we started this debate, there were about a dozen government ministers. We're now down to 3 and the First Minister. But I'm happy to use my remaining time, Mr Gray, Mr Robertson, Mr Fairley, to say As a result of the decision taken by John Swinney, Scottish Government ministers and Cabinet Secretaries will get an extra £20,000 per annum. So can any Minister or Cabinet Secretary say that they have earned that increase and deserve it?
Mr Ross, if I could encourage you to stick to the theme.
Yep.
There's not a motion, but there is a theme for the debate. That would be helpful.
Yep. But my point is very clear. My point is very... No, I won't. My point is very clear. These are issues that Parliament could have been discussing today. So I'll say it again because there was a slight interruption there. Can any of the ministers on the front bench say that they deserve and have earned their £20,000 increase? I'm quite happy to continue to wait. I've got about another minute because of the intervention. So I'm just going to stand here and wait. If any of these highly paid Scottish Government ministers can defend their £20,000 increase to the public, tell us now.
Mr Ross, if you could return to the topic of the debate this afternoon in your remaining 30 or so seconds. Okay.
And I'm making the plea again. Come on. If Mr Swinney believes that they deserve that funding, that increase of £20,000, tell us about it. I'll give way to the First Minister. I'll give way to the Cabinet Secretary. I'll give way to Angus Robertson or Jim Fairley.
If you can conclude,
Scottish
Mr
Government
Ross.
Minister defend it. And maybe that's why we're debating this international debate today. Maybe this is why the topic chosen by the SNP government is one that they are not in charge of, because they cannot answer simple questions about the area of their responsibility. And I think the people of Scotland can see that, because they can see this is a government who take them for granted, who provide massive pay rises for their ministers and can't even hold themselves to account.
Thank you. I now